Hey there, Fletch from All Things Overlanding here, and today I'm going to be talking about something kind of crazy that I'm in the process of doing. I am going to be replacing all of this on the back of my truck, my rooftop tent, my bed rack, all that stuff with an Alibaba camper. I just placed the order about a week ago. I've been talking to the company, and I know a lot of you guys have questions about these things, and campers, they're very expensive. If you buy them here in the US, you know, there are a lot of great companies that make them, but you're talking probably 8 to 15 grand or more for something like that. I'm going to, at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you how much I paid. I'm going to walk you through the whole process. I'm going to show you everything. I'm going to give you tips and tricks for what I've learned as I've gone through this process. And again, I just started it, so I'm going to be taking you along with me as I go through this process. It's going to change my build, and I cannot wait to show you guys what this thing looks like mounted. So stick with me and let's get into buying an Alibaba camper.
Where it came from, but you got it, my got it. It began in the land of the sandstorm. I fought it, though I wanted everything to do with what you give to me. Loosening my grip.
All right, guys, so as I mentioned, today I'm talking about this Alibaba camper, and I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like. This one is a hard shell straight pop-up style with the enclosed rear cap. So sort of like a smart cap, but with an integrated rooftop tent on top with hard walls that pop up, and it goes straight up. So again, I'm going to show you a picture here. I'm going to put it up over the screen. I'm going to walk you through the entire thing. So it's kind of going to be me in the corner and then talking about this stuff and showing you everything on my screen. I'm going to talk you through the process. I'm going to talk about why I came to this decision. I'm going to talk about how much it's going to cost. I'm literally going to break it down. I'm going to show you all the stuff I plan to build into it. So I'm going to show you the cost of the unit itself. I'm going to talk about all the things I'm going to do to it once I get it and some of the modifications that I'm going to make. And they also have a lot of accessories that you can buy in addition to the cap itself that can be built into it, customized and all that stuff too. And they will also custom make it for your specifications for your vehicle. So it's not even just a drop in, I have a Tacoma, I have a Frontier, this is the cap you get. They literally custom build each of these things for the buyer. So you will send them instructions, and I'm going to give you some tips on that, how to get to that point, how to get them the right instructions, how to kind of verify it. So I'm going to give you all the info. So this is going to be a little bit of a longer video because, again, I want to give you all the info. I'm going to walk you through everything as I'm doing it. It's been almost a week, not quite a week, since I put down my deposit. And so now I am getting super excited. It's going to take, they say their turnaround time is about 90 days. So you got to be ready for that. All right, so before I talk too much, I just want to kind of show you what I'm actually getting. Now, another thing to keep in mind is they have a number of different variations. So if you want a soft-sided, wedge style tent, you can get that on the capper. You can get all kinds of different build outs. But the thing about Alibaba is that it's risky, right? You could have someone that doesn't speak good English. You could have someone that's not very responsive. It feels scary to send this kind of money to a Chinese company without any sort of protection. So let's kind of start by talking about that. The cool thing about Alibaba is they essentially act as sort of the escrow between the manufacturer and you, the buyer. And what I mean by that is the manufacturer doesn't actually get the money. You pay it to Alibaba, they hold it in escrow, and then when certain steps or certain things are achieved, that's when the money passes through to the Chinese company. So it gives you some protections. They've got some guarantees and stuff in place, which is really nice. I'm going to put links to everything I talk about down in the description below, so I will put a link to this exact tent in there. When you reach out to them, especially if you have a Frontier, but even if you have anything, because remember, they're going to custom build this thing for your vehicle no matter what, make sure that you mention that you heard about them on All Things Overlanding, because then you can get connected directly to the gal that I've been talking to. You can either shoot me an email at allthingsoverlanding@gmail.com. And I'm happy to then pull you in and connect you one-to-one so that I make sure that you get connected to the right company and the right person so that she can take care of you. Or you can go through the link in the description down below and just mention that you heard about them from All Things Overlanding, and they will take extra special care of you. So that's the scariest thing, I think, is just that there are a million manufacturers. And I will say, when I first started and I blocked them all and gotten rid of them, and I'll show you here on the screen, I was getting message after message after message. So you do have to be ready. It's almost like selling something on Facebook Marketplace when you go to Alibaba. As soon as you look at a thing, then all the manufacturers of that thing must get some sort of notification that you were looking at a camper, and then all the camper manufacturers start to reach out to you. So they do have a way though in here to like block. There's this little 3-dot thing here. You can mute people, you can block people, you can delete messages. And so I just, as those came through, I just started blocking them and then deleting them. And then it's quieted way down. And now I'm just talking to this young lady, Shirley, who has been amazing from Hyperlion. So that's the name of the company, is Hyperlion, that builds this camper. You can buy it in as small quantities as one, which is awesome. But if you have some friends that want to buy them too, you can combine shipping. So that's another thing. But so without jumping all over the place, Alibaba gives you some protections. You want to set up an account in Alibaba so that it's got all your info and stuff. It saves you time later on. And then it also consolidates all your information. They also have an Alibaba app, which is kind of the same thing. It's basically just like a mobile version of the website, but I like that because then I can communicate, send messages and things like that from the app. So again, when you come in here, you can see they've got all kinds of products. I mean, literally anything you could ever imagine they've got on Alibaba, but they also have multiple manufacturers of those things. So like I mentioned, you got to be a little careful because you could have a bad experience, which is part of why I want to make this video, is because I want to share my experience. I'm going to take you through the whole thing for the next few months and keep you up to date on what's going on with it and everything. And then if you're looking for something like this too, I mean, I can tell you so far I've been extremely impressed. And I'm a customer service guy. So the fact that they're this communicative and responsive and stuff is awesome. And I'm really impressed with them so far. But then you will know who to contact, who to reach out to. That's going to give you, one, I think it's the best price. I looked at a number of these, and these guys have one of the lower prices on it. Like you can see this one here that I'm looking at on the screen is really, really similar with a cloth fabric pop-up, and it's, you know, $4,400 to $6,500. Now that one looks more like sort of like an Alu cab, so the style's a little different on the cap. So you got to really be careful. But here you can see, like, if you want to spend a little bit less, starting at like $2,100 to $2,500, there is a wedge style pop-up with an X hinge at the bottom. So it's kind of like the open road rooftop tent integrated into a cap. So there are all kinds of different styles to get. So you need to decide what style you want. But again, this Hyperlion, they focus just on this stuff and like some sports and health equipment. So they don't make a million things. They're kind of specialized in these things. And that's part of why I chose them too, is because they're specialized. So that's one of the things that you want to look for. So anyways, once you picked out your thing, here's my kind of conversation. So again, I just wanted to walk you through this to show you everything. She replied within just like a minute of me sending this thing and said, "Hey, nice to meet you. We're glad that you're interested in our camper." And then she went back and forth. I mean, now keep in mind they're in China, right? So there is a time difference. So when I'm communicating with them, generally it's between like 9 p.m. and midnight. But I've also like sent her messages at 8 a.m. in the morning Eastern time, and she's replied. So she's amazing. Like that's, and some of these companies aren't. So these guys actually are really, really good. And then, you know, they sent over like all these pictures, like she knows what she's doing. So she sent over this stuff with all of these measurements and stuff, right? So this is the picture of the sort of the components of the camper. They sent over a video for how to measure. So you do have to measure, and you basically measure like across your bed at the front, across the bed at the back, from the front to the back, the width of your like bed rails, the height to the top of your cab. If you have one of those shark fin antennas on top, that you want to add that to it. But they have a whole video that they send you on how to take the measurements. And again, we haven't even talked about payment or anything at this point. She's just giving me all this info, saying, you know, here's what we would need, setting very clear expectations, great communication. Then the system kind of constantly pops up and says ready to order. So they are a little persistent, right? Like they do want to sell you stuff, but you take your time, right? Like you don't have to do anything that you don't want to. I talked to them for probably a day or two before I even committed to giving them the dimensions. So then the next day I went out, she sent me sample dimensions for a similar truck to mine. It was like a 2017 Frontier that they had on hand just to give me an idea. And then I went out and took my measurements, which were slightly different because I have the 3rd gen Frontier. And then they send you over like a Google Doc of accessories. Now I'm going to pull this up just to show you this because I think this is cool. And then it'll also give you a really good idea of what accessories these guys have for these campers. So these are their accessories. It's basically just a Google form. You put in your name, your email, and you can put in Shirley's name if that's who you're talking to. And you just click yes or no. So there's no pressure for this. As I go through these, I'm going to tell you what I selected. So I did go with the condensation pad. It's $55. I just want that just to be safe, just in case any, water kind of condenses on the walls and goes down underneath. It helps it dry out. So I wanted that just because it's custom fit for this camper, right? So then I've got this condensation mat to go under my mattress to keep everything dry and keep things from molding. They've got a 270-degree freestanding awning with lights built into it for $357 here. They've got wall material for $240, another $270, a different sort of design of $270 that's a little bit bigger, it looks like, for $499. And they've got wall fabric for that one. They've got crossbars if you want them. They're $50 a piece. So if you needed two, let's say, to put stuff on top, you would want to get two. So it'd be $100. I did not get those. And then this is the other thing that I got. So I got the condensation mat, and then I got this fold-out kitchen. Now this thing's pretty basic, right? Like it's kind of, but it's built into the thing. It attaches in there and it gives you a dedicated space. So the reason I chose to do this, it's $285. I chose to do this because since I'm going to be accessing the tent and going in and out of the back on the tailgate, that's where I normally cook. I don't want to be stuck moving my stuff all the time back and forth. So I went with this pop-out kitchen on the side because it's basically got built-in storage. So I'm going to store all my cooking stuff, my, Jetboil Genesis, all my silverware, my utensils. I'm going to build that all into this thing. And then it's got a pop-out table where you can set your stove and everything. And then you could cook right there. So I love that it's just going to give me like a dedicated enclosed space that's secure where I can keep all my kitchen stuff totally out of the way, separate from my built-ins in the bed, because that's a lot of junk, right? And it gives me a dedicated place where I can cook from and then not have to impede my, in and out of the back of the camper from the tailgate. So that's why I went with that. So basically I'm buying the camper plus $285 for the kitchen and $55 for the mat, which comes to about $340 in extras that I bought for it. Now they also have these, and these are pretty cool, but it's kind of up to you. They have these outer molly panels that you can put on the outside. That is just this back part though. So don't pay attention to these tracks. I'll show you that in a second. Those are called the outer hooks. So that's these. These are basically sort of like quick release style things where you could like attach like axes and things like that. But so you can get the molly panels. You can also get and add on the outer hooks if you want. You can get a water tank from them for $180. They've got a car shower tent for $150. That you can add on. They have a canopy cover. So if you weren't or if you were planning to like remove the tent sometimes, maybe with like a winch in your garage, you can get a cover that will enclose the top of it so you could swap onto it. Now I didn't do that because I plan to run the tent 24/7. Another thing that I may pick up later is this thermal insulation liner. It's $171. I do a lot of winter camping, but it's also a hard shell. It's a hard sided tent. So I'm kind of curious, I'm just holding for now because I'm not sure if I'm going to want that or not, but I probably will end up getting that, just so you know. And then they even sell like diesel heaters, and they sell these jacks so that you could remove the camper and store it and roll it around in your garage if you wanted to. And then they will also install a ceiling ventilation fan, and it's $200, and that includes the installation. So like when the thing comes to you, it's going to have an insulation fan already built into the top. Which is pretty cool. I actually kind of thought about that because in the summer I may want that, but I just don't go that much in the summer, right? So I decided not to do that. But if you do a lot of warmer weather camping and you want to install a fan to keep the airflow circulating, $200, you can get it added before they ever ship the thing to you. So those are all the accessories. Again, I'm not going to bore you with all this stuff, but they send you so much documentation and information, and they're so responsive, like 24 hours out of the day. And I mean, look at this thing on the inside here. I'll show you this little video of theirs where they're kind of showing it. So this is how the sides come down. So it is a hard shell. So it has pins basically that you push the walls out and the pins drop into place. And then when you want to pull it in, you pull the pins out, the hard shells just fold in. So there's no fabric. Right? You don't have to worry about the fabric popping out the sides like we've all dealt with for years on the tent. It all folds in. There's no extra overhang or anything like that. There's room in there for your bedding. There's room in there for pillows and stuff. It comes with a mat that's a little thin. I'm probably going to replace the mat is what I'm guessing I will do. It is huge too. It's about 9 feet long and about 5 feet across. Now I'm going to put all the dimensions and stuff in there. And again, I'm going to link to this thing so you can check out all the details. But the folding is just so nice and easy because it's a hard shell. The manufacturing of it looks really good. Again, no mold to worry about, no, bleaching of the fabric, no wearing of the fabric because it's all hard shell. So I'm super excited about that. And just the room in it, the amount of room that you have is phenomenal. So I can't wait to show you guys what it looks like on my truck. But here are some pictures that they sent too of other trucks with this same camper on there. I mean, look at this thing. It's beautiful. And look at all this space in the back too. So like you can see here, again, all these doors closed. You can also get interior MOLLE inside of the things. It comes with that, I believe, by default. It's got a window up front, window in the back. These windows are hard windows, but then on the inside of them, they've got zip up dark material, so you can make it dark. And then it's also got a screen that you can open or leave up. So you could open the windows and then close up the screen and let wind come through. If it's, going to be light, you can zip up the dark fabric to close this thing off and make it a complete cocoon to sleep in, which is amazing. But again, this is about the price of like a name brand rooftop tent at $4,500, right? And really the cost is $3,500, where I'm getting the $4,500 to $5,000 is including shipping fees, tariffs, all that stuff. That's total to your door. Again, I'm going to go through that in more detail here in a second. I'm just giving you like ballpark numbers right now, but this is basically what it looks like. And again, the most important thing I think is picking the right manufacturer and someone that's communicative, that speaks good English and is helpful. Now, I'm going to put up here on the screen too, from my phone, one thing that they did is they asked to talk on WhatsApp. Now, this is very common for Chinese companies because it's like a virtual messenger where you can talk 24/7 to someone. So instead of having to communicate in Alibaba all the time, they just created a WhatsApp that has their manufacturing people in it. It has their marketing person in it. It has their, my customer satisfaction rep person in it. So everybody's on one thread and they know me by name and they know my specifications and all that stuff. And so we chat on WhatsApp. It also makes sending pictures way easier. Now, one thing that I would advise though is, and with these guys, again, I haven't had anything fishy or anything strange at all. But whenever you go to WhatsApp, I've talked to a few Chinese companies this way before. You don't want to send payment through there. You want to keep with Alibaba because that's where your protection is, right? So you want to work, all of your stuff is going to go through Alibaba. So when she sent an invoice, it comes through Alibaba. I pay it through Alibaba via PayPal is how I did it. So I also have the backup protection of PayPal, because I sent it as, purchasing a product. So I've got PayPal's protection and then I've got Alibaba's protection. So don't send any money some other way. You can communicate outside of there. But then what I've been doing is I'm using WhatsApp for like the day-to-day, and then I'll go into Alibaba with like approvals. So I'll go into Alibaba and say, hey, we were just talking about this on WhatsApp. Here's my approval of the design mock-up that you sent, right? And I'll show you that. Like, this is what it looks like. This is the design mock-up that they built based on my specification. So if you have a 3rd gen Frontier and you want to, use this as a basis, again, send me an email, send me a message, let me know. I'm happy to share these with you. Obviously, all the characters are Chinese, right? I threw this into ChatGPT though, and it actually just it translated the whole thing for me, which was pretty cool. It doesn't give you a printout with the translations, but it tells you what they all mean, and it's just like, dimensions, blah, blah, blah. There wasn't anything crazy in here at all. The main thing that you want to look at is just these measurements back and forth. And then I took these measurements out to my truck and remeasured it again, just to make sure that like 1600 millimeters was exactly the width of my bed rails. Now, one thing to keep in mind is they are in China, right? So they do everything in millimeters. So I used a standard measuring tape. And then what I did was I just went to Google and I just threw in like, 15 3/8. And I said, convert it to millimeters. And then I gave them both measurements. I went ahead and gave them my imperial measurements and the millimeter measurements. And then they also double checked with their engineers who have built these things before to look at other models that they've done that are similar, like that 2017 Frontier, to kind of compare them to. And then they were like, yes, we feel good about these measurements. So you want to be careful though, because you are responsible, right? If you give them the wrong measurements, if you aren't careful with the way you measure things and you give them the wrong measurements, you're going to get this thing and it may not be right. So just that, again, the video that they give you is really great. The picture that they give you, the thing that you fill out, like the form, has exactly what dimensions they need with a matching picture. So just double check them all, right? Make sure that you do your conversions and then share them with them. They will sort of give you like backup just to make sure that it sounds right, because they want it to be right too, right? They don't want to ship you something that's not going to work and then you're mad and you leave them a bad review. So they will help out with that stuff. But so just convert your measurements from imperial into millimeters, or you could get a metric tape measure if you want to. I chose not to do that and just use the standard. But so then once you send those measurements over to them, then basically what they're going to do is they are going to send you the schematic. And then from there, after all that work, before I've ever been asked for any money, that's when they said, okay, do you want to place the order now? And I said, yes. And then they send you an invoice through Alibaba. Again, make sure that it comes from Alibaba, because that's where you want to make your payment. You pay securely through the website. What they do, I believe, is 30% down. So I think, and it's 30% of the purchase price of the product, not including the shipping or anything like that. That gets the thing started, right? Then they're going to start working on it. Now, again, they say 60 to 90 days to produce it. They've been great. They sent me a message just the other day and were like, hey, would you mind running out to your truck and just taking a picture looking straight into the bed, just so that we can kind of get a feel for, what it looks like in there, and we can run some measurements on the picture. And I said, sure. So I sent them a bunch of pictures of that in WhatsApp today, just so that they can look at that. But so there's communication back and forth. They keep you in the loop. So I believe, I haven't gotten to this point yet, right? So I will update you guys when we get later on. But the other 70%, you don't pay that, I believe, until you receive the tent and inspect it. So it's going to come on a truck. You're going to have about 4+ people, because it is a big thing. There's 2 pieces. There's the camper part itself, and then there's the bed cap. And the bed cap does have a few pieces you have to put together, but it looks like it's pretty easy. It's a few bolts to kind of just put it together into a box. You put that on your truck. Then you're going to have your buddies help you lift this big heavy tent onto the top of it. But then once you do it once, you're done. I mean, unless you're taking it off, but I'm never taking mine off again. But so I believe that you don't pay that 70% until you receive the tent and accept the tent. So, and if I'm wrong about that, again, in future videos, I will talk through this. I don't want to commit to anything here because I'm just starting this process, but I believe that's how it works. It may be that you have to pay before it ships. I'm not sure. Maybe you pay shipping before it ships, and then you pay the remaining 70% of the tent once you get it and inspect it. Again, in future videos, I will walk you through that more. But now I'm in the kind of like fun planning stages. All right, so now kind of wrap this thing up. I know this has been a long video, but I'm trying to pack as much info about this process in as possible. And again, stay tuned, because there's going to be more. If I run into any problems, I'll be talking about it. If I have a great experience, I'll be talking about it. Again, so far it's been really good, and I think it's because this company is a really good one. I've always been a budget guy, focused on budget price stuff. I can't afford to go spend 15 grand on a camper for a $45,000 truck. I can't spend a third of what I spent on the whole truck just for a camper. Again, I'm going to offset it though, because I have stuff. So I'm going to be selling my rooftop tent. I'm going to be selling my bed rack when this thing comes. So there's going to be some stuff that's going to help offset this quite a bit. That's my plan anyways. I've also got 2nd gen Frontier parts, a rear bumper with a swing out, another bed rack for a Frontier, and a bunch of armor. So if you're into any of that stuff, let me know. I will keep you guys in the loop as we keep going through this process, but just wanted to share all this with you, and hopefully it's helpful. If it was helpful, click that like button down below. If you're not subscribed to the channel, again, there's going to be a ton of content coming on this. So if you're into this stuff, this budget version of a, pass-through rooftop tent, hard shell camper, hit that subscribe button. Also, I've seen this thing on YouTube that's called Hype. If you guys got value out of this video and you're excited to see this series kind of come to fruition, hit that hype button. Put some hype on it, because then other people will see it, and then we can get it out to more people. And again, I hope to make this into a really cool series. I can't wait to show you. Like, it's going to be better when I get the actual thing and I can show it to you guys. But again, I want to walk you through the process so you know what to expect. And if you want to start the process, you kind of know what to look for and what company to hit up. So hit me up if you want directions to that, or click through the link in the description below and tell them I sent you. All right. So as always, in the description below are going to be links to all my social channels. So if you'd like to follow along on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, wherever, I'm everywhere. Click through those links down below. There is also a join button below this video, which is just kind of a passive way to support the channel. It gets you early access to the videos and some other perks. But if you want to be more involved with the channel, there's also a link to my Patreon down below, which is an awesome group of guys. We have 25-ish guys now, probably, and we have a 24/7 Discord. We have a Zoom call once a month just to chat and drink beer and hang out, and then we're doing a couple of in-person trips. So again, later this year, I'm going to have this camper. If you want to see it in person, you join the Patreon, you can come on the trip in the fall. So check that out. There's also a link down below to my website where I've got funny overlanding camping themed patches and stickers. I actually just got a new design made, which is this one that says "Roughing It" with Wi-Fi and has a picture of a Starlink and the woods on it. Super high quality PVC, hook and loop backed patches. And then I've got a sticker version of it too. And I've got a bunch of other designs. So like, here's the sticker version of it. And then like, I've got like "Don't Burn Your Wiener" and it's a hot dog, that kind of thing. So I've got all kinds of different stickers and patches related to overlanding and camping. So definitely check those out if you're interested. And then last but not least, there's a link to the Newbie Overlanders Facebook page. And this group is totally free to join. I've been running it for a few years now, and it's got almost 30,000 people in it at the time I'm recording this, and it's growing every day. But we don't allow bullying or self-promotion or anything like that. We do a once-a-week post where you can share your socials and stuff, but we don't allow it just in the general feed. So it's a lot cleaner than a lot of those big groups, and you're not going to ask a question and get just relentlessly pummeled with hate. So if that sounds good, definitely consider joining that. But again, that will do it for the Alibaba camper that I'm buying. More to come in the future. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.